Get this going. Except they're building houses like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Celeste Malloy just voted and opened up all that ground for sale in BLM that used to be under the Bureau of Land Management. Sorry,
Oh,
guys, we're just
okay.
wrapping real quick and we'll jump into this, but thanks for being here. We're just talking about some water issues, farming. Brigham has a farm in southern Utah, northern
Wh-
Arizona area.
When you said BLM, I thought that was Black Lives Matter. I'm like, what the heck are you
Yeah,
talking about?
that's why I had to clarify it. The original BLM stands for Bureau of Land Management, Department of the Interior. Um, and they pretty much control 90% of the land west of the Mississippi. And so most farmers in our area, or ranchers in this side of the world, run large acreage on Bureau of Land Management ground, and that's regulated on how many cattle they can have. I'm going to give you guys some updates, some pretty neat updates. This will be relevant because we actually might be able to affect some change at the level of government for the Bureau of Land Management. But anyway, so we were just kind of talking about water issues down in the southern Utah area. There's a community down there that the city put out an ordinance that said if you're caught watering outside, you will be cut off of all utilities. And so Brigham is in that area, but in a different district. So I was just asking him how his farm was affected. But water issues are affected. And then I was talking about
Yeah.
the Bureau of Land Management has now opened up more ground in a desert with no water, thousands, tens of thousands of acres for low income housing. And there's no water. But anyway, that should be a podcast, not a investor update. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. Appreciate you. You're all welcome to, questions, jump in, unmute yourself. If you look down in the bottom, let's see, react. If you hit react, you can raise your hand. And then we would love to have you go off mute and ask any questions. So we'll jump right into it. The last time we had our investor call, I was in DC at the Maha Institute. It was awesome. I think I was on the call before I attended. Yeah, Paul's saying yes. So lots has happened since then. The Maha Institute was very interesting. Steve and I talked before the event the night before. Steve is Out of the Wild 3D on Instagram. He's a mentor. Was voted #1 farmer in Texas in 2010, out of business in 2011 because of a rule called Food Modernization Act. Again, I'll share some of that with you here in a minute. But he has a farm plan that it's pretty aggressive. It's necessary if you really understand where we're at and you're willing to admit it, but it pretty much would take an act of Congress to implement. So what we're doing is more practical, and the people can get involved and make a difference versus the government, and we can move at a much faster pace. Not at the pace of government. But anyway, so I was in DC, that Maha event. We both were wondering if, can we count on anybody on the left? No. Can we count on anybody on the right? No. As far as USDA, it's captured big agriculture, not helping small family farms. So, where do we have any support? That's our mindset going into this DC event. And we found actually that there is tons of alignment right there in the middle in that Maha group. And I'm not saying it depends on what part of the country you live in, how Maha comes across to you. We're talking about people that want to have freedom of choice across the board with informed choice, whether it's medical decisions, whether it's your food choices, whether it's how food is produced, but with an emphasis on, what's actually making us sick or healthy. And so it was very interesting to hear, because it wasn't just about farming. Steve was invited to talk about farming, and then there were people across the board, technology, AI, all of these things, people leading in different areas that were sharing, where they're at in their projects. So, but we were there, of course, focused on agriculture. So it was interesting. We left feeling like we do have allies that want to help improve our situation in agriculture and help us increase the number of family farms and make it more accessible locally to consumers and give you more freedom of choice and also informed choice, like actually knowing what's in the food you're buying. So I don't think anybody is against that. But anyway, so it was great. After I got home, I was contacted by the Department of Rural Development, the director out of DC. I had done a presentation a few months back for veterans in Utah, and the presentation was very well received from my perspective, and so that had people start reaching out from the SBA. We ended up getting a meeting with the director of rural development, and he's asked that I participate as an advisor for them to know what our farms need at their different community levels to help them make a difference. Like, what are the policies that are restricting you from being successful? How come you can't make a living as a farmer? What are those restrictions? And because we now represent almost 100 farms, we just got over 90 farms on there now. They want to know, because we have built this on talking to our farmers. We're producers. Brigham's got a farm. You know, I sold beef for my family. Like, we knew, but we also want to make sure we're representing as many folks as possible. So this many conversations with producers coming on board, now people in the SBA and Department of Rural Development want to know what we've learned. And so they've invited us to have a seat. Now, I'm always intentional about making sure they know that I'm not the expert, but I've made it a goal to shake the hand of the expert, and that's our farmers. So what I do is I then connect them with the farmers and ranchers that actually live it and deal with it on a daily basis, and then they get the advice from them. So we're just here to be a connector to help the right people get on the right seats to make a difference. What's really great is that I was very surprised at the level of support from the SBA for family farms. You would expect that to come from the USDA, and it doesn't. It's coming from the SBA. Now, I'm going to give the USDA the benefit of the doubt that, you know, there's no illusion on our part that we are not in a situation where we need our big agriculture. We produce so little food. We've lost so many family farms that we need the big system as it exists to at least keep functioning as it exists. So giving USDA the benefit of the doubt, they're making sure that the wheels don't completely fall off of that train like they did during COVID, and we haven't fully recovered from that either. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We're just grateful. Now, that doesn't mean I'm happy with the decisions over there being made, but whatever. I don't have all the cards in the deck to know what's all the decisions. We're just grateful that there is a federal agency that is willing to bring a coalition of family farmers together that can help them make a difference. One of the people I connected them with, his name's Mike Calicrate, Calicrate Land and Cattle. This is a gentleman who actually went toe-to-toe with one of the former Big Five. It was called IBP. He went to court all the way up to the federal courts to fight this case. He won the first round, but they've got a lot of powerful lawyers, so they took him to court again, lost the second round, and had to pay their attorney's fees. But Mike is a fighter, and now he's one of the leaders in the cattle industry as a family producer that's fighting the fight. So he's the kind of guys I bring in to help make these decisions. But what we're building it from the farm, everybody's telling these SBA, rural development, the number one thing they need is a competitive marketplace. And that's what From the Farm is. That is why we exist. That was why we built it. Because the number one thing I was told for 3.5 years asking farmers, what do you need? That was what they told me. And that's why they're coming to From the Farm to try to find ways to move forward. So we feel like we've done a lot of work to be in the right position at the right time to participate at different levels. That's going to help ensure that From the Farm has the chance to be successful and build a competitive marketplace. So thanks to y'all for being investors to help us get here, because this is the entire initiative is by and for the people. We are this far because of your investments. That is just the reality of what we've done, and that's why we did a community round. So, okay. Any questions on any of that before I move on to another topic? You can unmute real quick or throw up a hand. All right, let's go to platform. So we have always committed to making sure we view this from what serves the producers, what serves the consumers, because when we create a marketplace from that perspective, that's what's bringing us the producers, which is the inventory, right? So in this day and age, believe it or not, being of service is the way to succeed. Service first, because people have been taken advantage of for so long that when somebody actually shows up with that uh, level of integrity, they want to be a part of it. And so that's why we are signing up the producers we are. So in that mindset, we keep asking ourselves, how do we make this profitable for the company and the investors? Because we got to make money to compete, but also how do we serve our producers? And so one of the things that was kind of a sticking point was the 15% commission that we were taking. We came up with that number because when a producer sells to an auction, they get an average of 14 cents on the dollar when that beef is finally sold at the store, and you break that dollar out. So they only were receiving 14 cents. So we just said, well, let's just start there and we'll do 15 cents and they have the rest. But the challenge is some of our producers have their own .coms, so they want to be a part of this ecosystem anyway, but they have their own .coms and they're doing their own marketing, which we should not earn commission when they're investing in their own marketing. Also, some producers don't know the full dynamics of customer acquisition costs and so forth. And so a 15% commission felt like it was too much. And so they added 15, which was pricing the product out of the market. And so we would never design this to make the revenue off the producer, and it was causing some friction when we were just here to serve. And we know that the more producers we get on the platform serving our communities, the more successful we're going to be anyway. So it took us a while. This is you all investors, so I'll just share this with somewhat proprietary for us because it took us a year to uncover this, trial and error, talking to our producers. But we found an alternative way to bring in revenue that's more significant than the 15% and saves them money. And so we're pivoting. I was talking to one of our producers and she said that they almost went out of business. And this is B-Bar H, and they are one of the highest sellers on our platform and on their own website. So it was confusing to me that they were struggling. And she said, we couldn't afford the $10,000 minimum package order to get the price breaks we needed to be able to afford to ship boxes, insulation. We're talking, gel packs, those things. I pulled her up on the map and we have 3 other producers right around her. So what From the Farm has the ability to do is to become the distributor for packaging, offer our producers the price break while earning commission on packaging. And everything that moves through From the Farm requires packaging. So we've already called a few packaging manufacturers. They have said, absolutely, we would love to make you a distributor. So now we're going to set up a system that will allow them to order packaging through From the Farm at the price breaks if they were ordering on volume. But because we're supporting a large number of producers, we can help spread those costs and earn a commission. Good news is we've got a personal friend that grew up in a slaughterhouse who is one of the top sales reps for a big packaging manufacturing company. And he's going to come in and help us set that all up. So we have the skill set and an experienced person in this space to know how to create that and help us drive that forward. Owner's iPhone. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, AJ. It's Lori.
Oh, hey, Lori. Yeah, great. Good
So
to have
I
you
have
here.
a question for you. So I just actually ordered from B-Bar H, but I did it on their .com.
Yes.
So my question though is, a lot of the producers don't give you full access to what they have available.
That's right.
Okay, so basically everything that's on From the Farm is just a portion of what they sell.
Yes. So glad you brought that up because that does lead into one of our primary development tasks right now that we're putting together. So one of the challenges for farmers that have their own .coms is managing 2 different sites of inventory. So what we've learned is that they're putting inventory on From the Farm that they know they're always going to have just in case they sell out, because they don't want to have somebody, they don't want to have to refund somebody or have that issue.
Okay.
And so what we're developing is the ability for them to use From the Farm as a plugin on their own .com, if that
Okay.
makes sense. So now their inventory is managed both on From the Farm, is managed in their From the Farm back office, but it's on From the Farm and their own .com,
Okay.
which that's also one of the reasons we removed the commission, because then we can do that seamlessly and not worry about who drove the traffic, but then we can support them on the packaging.
So interesting, because they offered free shipping.
Yeah. And they can now do that on From the Farm too. That was a new feature we just finished developing.
Okay.
Producers can opt in for free shipping beyond a certain dollar amount, just like they can on other platforms.
Yeah, it was a big order. So okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually over, they can set that on their own. I've seen it at 180 or 200, but
It was
yeah.
150 on theirs, but yeah.
Great. Great. Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a great question. That's exactly why we developed that, because these are the things we've been learning, and this will be much more seamless. And the more traffic that moves through the platform, the more packaging is needed as well. But the other side of From the Farm too is we have value added producers. That's the wrong term. Affiliate producers that are doing CPG products. Like we have a Hungy Energy. She sources local dairy, makes ghee energy sticks. And those kinds of companies go through lots of packaging as well. So we'll be a packaging supplier for more than just the food sales going through our platform.
That's awesome. Hey, I have a totally off subject
Yeah.
question, really quick though. Are
Yeah,
you going
great.
to start selling your sweatshirts again?
Yes. They're not even up on the website yet. So you
They're
just
not. You wear them all the time, and
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's summer now. Who wants a sweatshirt? But I'll throw them up and then let you know.
thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Lori. Appreciate it. Okay. So yeah, those are great questions. That helped me cover a lot that I was going to anyway. So that's one of the changes we're making. And then the next step is the pro level. Pro level is a monthly subscription for our producers. So in order to have that store on both platforms, it'll be it's currently at $120 a month, or basically $1,100 a year if they sign up for 12 months. But that, in comparison to some of the other platforms that I used for my family's ranch, that was really why I built this, because they were terrible, is a much better price than they're going to get anywhere else. So we've just implemented that as well. We sent out our first email blast to our producers that we no longer take commissions. The other thing with the pro level is a badge that we're developing to help consumers know that we have verified everything in that farm. In other words, that they are practicing what they're producing the way they claim to be producing. They're selling from the place they claim to be selling from. All of those things that will take a little more work to verify, but gives them an indication on the platform that consumers will know, because we are knowing and learning. And Lori was somebody who really helped me identify this. You're coming here because you want to know you can trust it. And at some point, the speed of signups of farmers at the free level, we won't be able to verify everybody and keep up. So there has to be a way for us to build a team to do that. And so that'll be part of the pro level plan for those guys as well. There's other features there, kind of semantics for y'all as investors. If you are curious, you can go look at the farm store setup page and kind of get a view of what that looks like. But otherwise, it's just seller features that benefit them, like subscriptions. They can get their beef boxes on subscriptions, and set those shipping minimums, price breaks if they're going to do free shipping and so forth. Catch my breath here real quick. Brigham, have I missed anything? Oh, Paul, go ahead.
I'm lost on something.
Oh yeah.
So I understand the commission model,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand the wisdom of moving off of that. That makes sense to me. I'm getting a little bit lost on the revenue sources that will keep this going. So one of the revenue sources is a pro membership that takes care of things like subscriptions, and you'll do that for the producer.
Yes.
But the other revenue source is going to be when you sell packaging. So,
commission on the packaging that our producers need.
so are those the two, what you're looking at moving forward under this new non-commission model? Those are the two main revenue sources that you're seeing out of this network. Is that, am I getting it right?
Yeah, on the producer side specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, because then we have revenue on the consumer side. The consumer side, we have a subscription model that is down the road, but the
Okay, it's
subscription
not
model,
there now.
when you buy through from the farm, some of the things we're playing around with, because in order to, one of the things that we have to create is conveniences that match grocery store, right? In order to get mass adoption, you have to find ways to get people to come onto your platform. We have people buying now because they're like, look, I'm a diehard. This is so great. I've been waiting for this. But to move to the way, like Airbnb, you have to simplify processes and make it more convenient so more people will use it. One of the things that our users have identified that they really hate is their meal plans. They hate it. Moms that are buying on our platform, the thing they hate in their life the most is one of the things they hate the most is planning that week's meals. So through our platform, because we will know what they're purchasing from their farm, we can create a tool or a software that will allow them to build meal plans, meal prep out of their inventory that they bought from the farm. This will also solve one of the challenges that I learned selling direct, which is customers put stuff on hold because how many times have you forgotten to pull out your frozen beef or something that you were going to cook for dinner? And so then you run to the store and buy something else. And so then what happens is now that inventory backs up in the customer's freezer, not because they already invested the money, they would like to eat it, but they're so busy they've forgotten to put it into their meal plan. So this will help producers continue to move more product because we're reminding the customer that they have food that they've bought, here's a meal that you can make this with. Here's a recipe you can make it with. We've already engaged with people that can do this with AI and the programming nowadays. That this is not difficult, but it's not a priority yet. It's the other two things first.
So that consumer side thing you were just talking about is a future feature that you see as a third revenue source, that
Yes.
AI related consumer assistance that you're
Yes.
talking about. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, but let me back up because there's another immediate source that's related to our producers that is also a primary focus, and that is wholesale, moving large volumes. And in that space, we will have a commission as a wholesale broker. Okay. And typically it's about 5%. Now, we've got a number of producers that are not on our platform that want to work with us, but they're so large in volume, they don't want to do anything with the animal once they've gotten it fat. These are family owned ranches that are moving, 2, 3, 5,000 head of cows. One of my friends has the largest herd of Wagyu in the nation. He would rather sell in our network, because he's currently stuck in the existing one that doesn't serve him. And now we can go to wholesale buyers, connect them direct to these sources that can move large local volumes that they're looking for that's getting harder to find, but we have the network. So, for example, Mike Calicrate, not on our platform, does plenty on his own, but already has asked help, we'd love to have you broker for us. And he can supply, he owns the slaughterhouse even, so he can supply 50,000 plus pounds of ground beef. So we are actively working on that side right now. In fact, we put out a job posting to bring somebody on from the wholesale boxed beef world that they do that professionally to join our team. And we got 50 applicants within a few hours. And some of them are just like winners that I'm really excited to start interviewing. So they're going to come in, help us build. They'll have a Rolodex. We have the inventory. Again, folks, the thing about our primary, we have our why. You guys know, I share that with you all the time. The how is having inventory. We live in a world where there are only 87 million head of beef cattle left in the nation. So by serving our producers and being the best place for them to sell because we've made it the best place for them, we start aggregating inventory that other people can't touch. That's the strategy, but we do this with our why. It's to serve our producers. So wholesale, subscription, and commissions on packaging. Yeah. Any other questions along that? Those are great, Paul. I really appreciate that. That helps us make sure everybody's really clear. Cool. Brigham, anything that I haven't covered yet?
Yeah, you covered the main revenue streams. To clarify further for you, Paul, the main revenue streams are going to be that subscription for the producers and increasing this wholesale volume. And the institutional buyers will also have a subscription fee to have access to all this, the aggregation of these natural grocers. And so, AJ, you've talked about those.
Let me say one more thing. You did trigger that actually goes
Okay.
into our conversations with SBA. A lot of these guys are trying to figure out farm to school programs, finding volumes for farm to school programs. And in talking with these, the leaders in these different groups, including the head of the farm to school program in Wyoming, aggregation is their biggest challenge. So for the person who buys and sources the meat or other food items for that school, for them to source from local farms, she would have to contact 50 farmers just to supply, a year's worth of meat. And they don't have the bandwidth to do that. So software like ours could come into play there. And that's one of the primary reasons we're having these conversations with SBA and rural development, is because we're this far down the road with software and a vision that they can see connects the dots. So yeah, go ahead, Brigham. I just wanted to add that clarity.
No, that's great. I was restating essentially. So we have those subscription revenues coming in. That's the primary source. Wholesale is going to drive that and cause volume there. And then the first thing that AJ mentioned will be building up over time. The supplies, and it's more than just packaging. It's all the supplies that these producers are going to need. They have a similar problem in not being able to make sizable purchases to get volume discounts. And From the Farm can step in and do that and spread the savings, which saves cost on inputs for farmers, but it also lets us make a small commission on that so that we can do away with that 15% commission on the products.
Yep. And we're not testing this in what I mean by that is folks have already done this that I've met. It just didn't connect for me until I had these conversations. I've been in a slaughterhouse in Wyoming that they have a warehouse that their people using them as a processor can go in, pull packaging off the shelf, check it out, get the price break, package it, and ship it from their warehouse. So folks are already doing this. They're doing it well. It is making revenue. It just didn't connect for me until I, had a few conversations. Go ahead, Brigham.
I was just going to give an example. I just had to do this yesterday. I was buying egg cartons for my farm, and the price break, I can get them for 35 cents a piece if I'll buy $15,000 worth at a time. But that I wasn't prepared to commit to that. And so I'm buying them in $500 or $1,000 increments, but that more than doubles the cost for me of the, per carton. So collaborating or being able to get those through from the farm in a collaborative way could lower the cost quite a bit. It could be meaningful for my final product cost.
Yeah. Cool. Couple events that we're traveling around. We're going to be in Idaho at the Modern Homesteading Conference. We have a booth there. I was a speaker last year. There was about 4,000 people in attendance. Our reason for being there is to connect with food producers, to get more producers in that area on the platform, and introduce the customers walking around to the platform as well. Lori, go ahead.
I just want to know if you need any help.
Oh, would love to have you there.
Okay, well, just get in touch with me because I'm about 45 minutes north of there.
I got a pass for you. I'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so we'll be there end of June, so end of this month. But before that, on the 17th, so next week, I'm headed to RCAF, the RCAF convention. RCAF is the second largest organization representing cattle producers across the country. They're the organization that we align with. The other organization has been captured, and it has been a long time ago. So RCAFs are the ones who are pushing for mandatory country of origin labeling, to stop RFID ear tags for cattle. I mean, just the things that the family farms do not want. And so we're a big supporter of RCAF. We actually really hope to help them grow. I've made some suggestions that they open up RCAF to citizens so they can come in and learn more about right from the ranchers about their food system. And they actually said they're going to be doing that. So we'll be there. I am speaking at RCAF, and so we're looking forward to that. And that will be next week. And then we have two major events that we have sponsored in Phoenix. These are focused around driving customers. It's one is a fitness event that drives thousands of attendees. Fitness is a perfect network for us because they're looking for high quality, nutrient dense food. They invest a lot of money in their health. They understand food as an investment. So when they see a higher priced quality cut of steak, but has all the nutrient values they're looking for, they're willing to pay for that. It's what they're committed to. So one event is a multifaceted event: bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, all the things. And the other one is a very large CrossFit event that we did a really small sponsorship with last year. But they've worked with us and they're bringing us in as a primary sponsor this year. So those are in August and November in Phoenix. So those are the major things that we've got coming up and going on as far as that's gone. I've participated in a couple of documentaries in the last few weeks. I don't know if I've shared that with you at all. One of them is going to be coming out this summer. I don't know if they've gotten it sold yet, but Amazon Prime, whatever that one is, they bought their last one, so they feel pretty confident. And we played the role of the first two guests that are pretty well known. One of them is Callie Means, freaking everybody about our food system out. And then we come in at the end and say, but here's how we're here to help. Now, we're not the editors, so we are going to be just as surprised to see how we're represented as everybody else. That's just how it goes. But I think they're in favor. So anyway, Brigham, do you want to, Lori, go ahead.
Hey, one more question. So have you ever thought of even approaching some of the smaller dog food companies? Because they're now using meat that you have no idea where that's coming from. And I've questioned a few of them and they can't give me any answers.
Yeah, good question. Not the dog food companies, but there are different people reaching out kind of constantly, and we have to focus because they're all such great opportunities. But one of our producers is Sovereignty Ranch in Bandera, Texas. That was the Confluence conference I spoke at. She called me last week and said that there's a couple there that built a large scale 8-unit massive commercial freeze drying facility that the product they were going to produce fell through. And she's a farmer, so she can supply products, raw material for use of that facility. And others have reached out about dog food and doing dehydrated dog food and those kinds of things. I'm a connector, but I have to reserve my time here. So the answer is yes. I'm just trying to figure out, make sure I'm putting the right foot in the right direction first. But those are opportunities that are on the table for us when the right time comes around. We just got to make sure we maximize where we're at right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Great question. Thank you. Brigham, do you want to give any updates on where we at with our WeFunder and where we're going?
Yeah, that'd be great. So you're all here because you've invested and have an interest in seeing this thing succeed. AJ's given you a good description of where we've gone so far. Pivoting on the revenue stream is very exciting. And we are in active fundraising mode. So we're still promoting the WeFunder investment platform. It's worked really great. It's involved a lot of people, and it's getting traction. It moves when we promote it, when we talk about it. And that's the stage that we're at right now, where we're still spreading the word. And so anything that you do to help spread the word helps the cause move forward. If you've got interested parties that want to participate at a higher level, send, the WeFunder platform handles it just fine, but send them over to answer questions. We'd love to have the discussions.
Yeah. Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Speaking of refunder, one of our last meetings, you mentioned that, we can still contribute additional funds.
Mhm.
So I actually did that. And it was actually
Hmm.
several weeks ago, and it says it's still in holding. Is that on your side or is that on the WeFunder side?
That's the WeFunder side. So I'll shoot them an email and ask what the situation is with that.
Okay, cool.
There's
Thanks.
some sort of escrow thing that holds a certain amount as it's all set up through the SEC, so they just follow the rules there. But
Okay,
it
all right.
holds a certain amount in escrow, and then you have to hit certain benchmarks. But we'll
Okay.
reach out to them. So
All right, no worries. Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up, though.
yeah, yeah. We do have somebody coming in that I met in DC. Actually bunked with him. It was 3 guys in a room, but I was in the Army, so that's all right. It's what it takes when you go to DC. It's quite expensive there. But the other gentleman in the room has worked with groups like Thrive Marketplace. He's a master at copy and email. He worked with RFK's presidential campaign to raise a large volume of capital through his skill set. Loves what we're doing, is committed to our entire vision of why, and is going to come in and help us do a last little push on the WeFunder before we close it in the end of July. But it will be a campaign focused on this WeFunder community round. So if you guys see that, that's who it is that we're working with. Great guy. He's actually the guy that helped Steve, I think, get his message in front of the group in DC. So a great ally. But I think that's it, Brigham. I feel like I talked a lot.
Yeah.
Hope it was useful to you. Oh, one thing I do want to cover for those that, if you're on the call or not on the call, perks. So we sent out a huge tranche. I think it was everything up to maybe about January, maybe a little after. We're going through processing all of the investments in the second tranche now, getting the shirts in. If you want to select your shirt size, we sent this email out last time. And if you didn't, what we did is if you didn't answer, we just sent you whatever the most popular size was. So I hope it worked out because we didn't hear from you. So if you're in that second tranche, if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry. Now, if you invested at the level to receive a box of beef, we have connected with Utah beef producers. I think I mentioned that already. What has held us up was figuring out shipping. And we were trying to get gift cards that we were maybe going to send out to everybody, but then those came with the fees weren't the problem. We just couldn't get it to work. So we've talked to Utah beef producers. They have said, send us the list. We'll handle it. So we hope to have everything out to you guys. They're going to have to, the challenge is logistically, I can just send you a shirt in the mail if you're home or not. But if I send you a 10-pound box of meat and you're not home, that's not going to go well. So that was a little bit of more of a challenge than we expected when we made that perk. So thanks for bearing with us. We about got that wrapped up, but everybody should have everything by the end of July. So unless you're an investor who watches this later and you come in after June 11th, you might be later. So, okay, that's all I got. I'll wait a couple of seconds if anybody has any quick questions, comments. Awesome. Thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate the comments, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.